Alright folks, so lately I've been watching some videos about these quick struts, and I've been hearing that not everybody is in love with them, that the spring that comes on them can be a little thicker or different from the stock spring, making a very different ride in your car, but I've decided it's the best way for me to go with my 2006 Mercury Mountaineer. The year is currently 2019, so I figure for a vehicle like this and me having the abilities that I do to replace these struts myself, I'm just going to go ahead and pop in these quick struts instead of compressing the springs and trying to get a new top plate, put the whole thing together myself. I'd like to just do this one shot. I did order the Monroe Roadmatic. Let's get into this and start seeing what we got. This car's only got 100,000 miles on it, but getting into it, I can see that there is quite some rust up here on top, so I better hit that with some rust brake and lube while I get myself set up. Alright, so I got the first wheel off, passenger side. A lot of stuff in here looks like it's never been maintained, if you ask me. It's just got some mud on it because I was having some fun the other day. Now, if one I want to check out thickness of the spring, I'm going to go for this area right here. So we've got about 1.25 inches on the spring side. Stock spring is about maybe a hair thicker. Just a fingernail bigger, so this is a little bit thinner spring than what is in there. Rubber bushings, these look good. This is the top strut mount. It's got its little warning label on it. Nuts and bolts. Dust cover. Nice and shiny. Alright, so I've got the passenger out, and let's just take a look down here. We can see the ginormous difference, new to old. What is this, 13 years and 100,000 miles on these quick struts. Bushing nice and new. This bushing all old and janky. I found some other problems along the way. I had to knock out this tie rod just to get it out, but I was cutting that. I cut that. This link is just so shot. I'm gonna go pick up a new set. Another quick reminder thing I did here. This is light rust, and I just sprayed it with a rust converter just to give the car a little more life in case I have it for a while, and that's the plan. I just want to make sure that as much of this rust can be converted to a paintable surface. I just want to stop any spread. Backs. I've got the old one out here, and the new one is sitting next to it right here. This Monroe Roadmatic, sorry. These are the original Ford parts that came out. So let's just take a look at an even representation. Got the pigtails. So I'm just gonna measure this spring right here. So it looks like we got just a hair under 1.5 inches. Let me make sure I got that right. Imagine this camera. About a hair under 1.5 inches. These are a little thicker, once again. Just a hair. These are just a little thicker springs, so it might be a little harder. So that's about 100,000 miles, 13 years on the bushing. This is what it looks like on the top. I hope I took that nut off. This is what I pulled out. I do live on Long Island, so there's a lot of salt water. I'm not sure where the previous owner lived, if they lived near water, salt, so that could have been part of it. We also have stupid winters around here, so all right. Well, I'm back for the final review on the quick struts for the Mountaineer. As we go around it, you can see she's sitting nicely. It's been about a week or more since I put them in. The car sat a little high, but it settled in. There was only one problem with these that I could tell. I was doing them. I've saved one of these back struts. And you see the way, like, a bolt will go across here, and these mounting posts have to be lined up in a certain way so that it's actually like on an angle. So it has to sit in a specific direction when you load it into the car. And one of them was just assembled, it seemed, in a way where the top mount wasn't exactly lined up with the bottom. So I had to push it a little bit harder to get it in. And I think that probably compressed the spring a bit, or compressed the rubber on top while I was doing it. Because as you can tell, there's no real much of an isolator on the bottom. The old one, paint falling apart. The truck ride's great. I have also done new tires on it since, and new sway bar end links. As I was putting these in, I found the sway bar end links were just completely shot. The rubber was missing on some of them, so I had to replace those. My review of them, my final thoughts are that they are great, and I would absolutely recommend these. Even my neighbors, the guys who live next door to me, saw me doing them and came out and had a bunch of questions because they were shocked that I was just doing this level of a project right in my driveway with jacks and jack stands. The truck feels a lot more confident over bumps. It doesn't feel like I'm getting thrown all over the place, and even in turns it feels a lot better. So at this point, I'm going to say that I think you should stick with a high quality, let's call it, manufacturer for the struts, and that might be like a Monroe or something like that. Don't just get a cheap brand or something you don't recognize, because those are probably the ones that are problematic. And even though it is a fairly cheap operation, it's not a problem. I had the truck aligned after I put them in and put new tires on, and it aligned just fine. So that tells me that they were holding up. It's not like it was throwing the geometry out of whack. Cost, I would say it was probably about $400 for all four. I went on eBay and I found a seller who offered a discount when you had so much product of theirs in your cart. So I believe his name was like Parts Wizard or something to that degree, if you happen to see him while you're floating around, or if you use Advanced Auto Parts and you use their coupons that they have online. Those are always great. Well, I think if you're driving a high performance sports car and you buy these, that might be foolish. But for something like a 13-year-old Mercury Mountaineer, this compared to what it would cost me at the tire shop to get it done, it cost me $335 for 2 tire pressure sensors, 4 tires mounted and balanced, an oil change, and an alignment. So you figure what I got out of that was mostly labor. That was $335, and like I'm saying, these parts cost me $400, and I can't imagine how much more it would have cost for them to put them in. So that's my opinion, that's my take. Real life, they're sitting here on the car. Let's see if I can get a better shot at it in here. Not much. You can see the new hardware sitting on top there. You know, the spring and everything. There they are. All right. Thanks for checking it out, gang.